All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Clifton Johnson. I'm the founder of the Empower Series. I want to welcome you to our Empower Series live podcast. I'm here with a good friend, Randy Bibbs. He's a second-time guest.
Yes.
And he came with Melanie Wells,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So Melanie Wells and Randy are owners of Lifeologie, a counseling service center. And now I wanted to bring Randy back on because Randy is actually the owner of multiple franchises. And we had talked a number of times about multiple streams of income.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to have a great conversation on entrepreneurship. Before we get started with that, hold on for a quick second. I just want to let you know I can't see anything, Jose. Am I still on? Okay. the joys of a live show. I love that, right?
Exactly.
So before we get started with our conversation, Randy, I just want to say thank you to our sponsors, Comerica Bank, AE Media Group, your generous donations. And actually, Randy, I want to thank you as well because you're a donor as well.
Yes.
So I want to thank everybody who made donations. We had Giving Tuesday, which was the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving.
Right.
So I want to thank everybody who gave, everybody who shared, all of those who are doing the Facebook fundraiser for birthdays. Thank you all. This is the end of the year giving, and we're looking at the plan for 2020. So all that you give is going to be very beneficial to help us continue to do quality programming. So I want to thank you all. And so Randy, as I said before, I wanted to bring Randy back in because he was kind of splitting his time with Melanie as well. And we talked a lot about Lifeologie.
We did.
Yeah, so we're going to still talk about Lifeologie, but we're also going to talk about the other businesses that Randy has as well. Randy, you were introduced to me by Jason.
Yes.
Jason Kilo.
Yes.
And Jason is the owner of Entrepreneurial Authority, or one of the agents of Entrepreneurial Authority.
Correct.
And that's how we got introduced. And Entrepreneurial Authority is a franchise broker. And what they do, they're like a headhunter for franchisors.
Exactly.
And so what his company does, he'll meet with you, he'll assess you to make sure that you're the right kind of person for a franchise.
Correct.
Because not everybody should be in business, right?
That's very true. They do a very detailed study into you and just find out what you're all about, what you like, what you dislike, and then they put you with franchises that you would potentially be successful with. He puts those in front of you.
So how did you meet Jason?
Actually, at a conference. Jason and I were at a similar conference, job fair, and he was sitting over at a table, and I had a few extra minutes, and we just sparked up a conversation. And then through that conversation, we talked about franchising, of course. Mm-hmm. And I told him I was interested in doing that, and then we just went from there. We had a conversation that day. He gave me his number. I called him up. A week later, I was sitting in his office. About 3 weeks later, he was putting some franchises, a list of 10 different franchises in front of me that said, "Hey, Randy, based on what the feedback that you gave us and everything, these 10 would be pretty good for you." And that's how we narrowed it down. And Smart Style was the first one that we narrowed it down to Smart Style.
So Jason he came and spoke at the Empower Series in 2012 when we were at UTD. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how I ran across that organization, but I wanted to bring somebody on to really help educate people on franchises.
Yes.
And I wanted to make sure that, because there's a lot of people out there, you might have heard that a franchise is a good thing to start.
Right.
But as you started, you look at articles, you go look out there, the top 10 franchises to start for 2020 or something like that. But to work with somebody like Jason, who's an expert, who's going to customize his program and kind of identify what's going to be a good franchise for you to look at. He gave you a list of 10 initially. Yes. And then you went out and did your due diligence.
I did a little bit more research into it. I looked at the 10, the models. They give you a pretty good description of what it would take to manage or to run one of those different operations. Mm-hmm. And so I did my due diligence. Okay, would I be interested in a gutter service? Would I be interested in Molly Maids? Would I be interested in Subway? So there was a list of 10. And you just go through and you do the capital basically that's needed to start. And basically he would put you in the capital range. If you say, okay, I have $50,000 to invest or $250,000 to invest. So he would give you that range for those particular franchisees.
So you came to him and you had a certain amount of money that you were willing to invest, right?
Yes.
And did he also tell you what kind of return or break-even time period that you were looking at with that type of investment? Or did you have a break-even time period?
You actually would do that with the franchise once you got in there and once you went through their schooling and teaching and everything. Jason is just the conduit to put you together.
Connects you, right?
Yeah, he
He's like
connects
the
you.
matchmaker.
Yeah, exactly. He's a matchmaker.
So the other thing I want to know before we get into the deep dive of your experience there is when he's working with you, did you like you had a certain amount of money?
Yes.
You can share with us what you had if you want, but
Okay.
But on the low end, people say, "Man, I want to start a franchise, but I got $1,000."
Mm-hmm.
Is there a minimum amount that Jason was telling you that okay, if you really want to start a franchise, you need at least X amount?
You can start a franchise with $500. It just depends on what franchise it is. Mm-hmm. Every franchise is not a Subway where you've got brick and mortar or a Chick-fil-A where you invest $500,000 or whatnot, sign on the dotted line. You can start a franchise right in the privacy of your own home. Yeah. So it just depends on what your capital situation is.
So your recommendation, since you've done this and you're a 2-time franchise owner.
Yes.
And you probably had different amounts of investments for Lifeologie versus the
Smart Style.
Smart Style.
Yes.
So you would recommend someone who's listening to us now, they want to get into the game.
Yes.
They can go out and do the research on their own. Would you recommend that they go reach out to Jason or someone like Jason?
Definitely. I mean, because those type, they know the industry.
Okay.
They know franchises that may not be published. Jason has since given me a list of other franchises that are out there that I never even thought about.
Okay.
Most people will Google what are the top 10 franchises for 2020. You'll get a list of 10, but you'll probably get Subway, you'll probably get Chick-fil-A, you'll get the top ones, but all those are pretty heavy with capital expenditure. You would not get the $20,000 franchise that you can start right in your own home, or the $10,000 franchise that you can go in with a partner and maybe do that together. Mm-hmm. So there are different varieties, and the franchisors like Jason, they connect you basically specifically to you.
Yeah, and I was going to say, so Jason, the value of working with a franchise broker, mm-hmm. whether it's Jason or anybody else, is they will actually match you given your personality style,
yes,
your leadership style, your hands-on, whether you want to just quit your job and do it, or if you need to keep your W-2 and then do the franchise. So they do a more in-depth analysis to make sure they match you out with a franchise that matches your style and what you're looking for, right?
Exactly. They really look at the big picture. What are your needs? What are you wanting to do? What time do you have? Do you keep your W-2? Do you not keep your W-2? And he does a little bit of, well, I wouldn't go too far out there with this. So he's done it long enough to where he can guide you in a direction.
Right.
But ultimately, whatever franchise it is, you would, from a profitability standpoint, you would work that through that company.
So with you, you knew that you wanted to keep your W-2, right?
Yes,
okay.
Had to.
Okay. So look, you're not alone, bro. You're not alone. Like, you're not like Steve Harvey. You know, Steve Harvey says you got to leap, take the jump.
Yeah.
Like, nah, not today, right?
I went into 3 feet, not the 6 feet.
Okay. So one of the criteria then were you wanted to make sure that you can keep your job.
Yes.
And as you looked at the 10, mm-hmm. how did you narrow it down to eventually get to the Smart Styles?
I looked at a number of things. The very first thing, of course, was capital. How much capital was needed? Mm-hmm. I looked at which of those 10 fit my personal, what I like to do. I looked at how would the best of those 10 be profitable amongst a broad range of people. I ended up going into Smart Style because everybody gets their hair done at some point. We may go weekly. We may go every 2 weeks. We may go a month.
You said everybody gets their hair
everybody
done?
with hair
right.
gets their hair done. Now, we can even help you because you have a beard and mustache and everything, so you could come in for a trim up. But everybody goes to the salon at some point. Mm-hmm. And I felt like that was something for me that I felt like was a good long-term investment.
Okay, so you narrowed it down, and did the salon kind of pop out to you, or were you kind of comparing it between the top 2 or the top 3 before you picked Smart Style? Again,
I was looking at what will people be doing. I looked at what would be potentially inflation-proof, because I know at some point we're going to have, the economy may or may not go up or down. So I was looking at it because I have a 5-year commitment mm-hmm. with the Smart Style.
Oh, okay. So it's a 5-year commitment.
5-year commitment.
So the other thing I have a question for you then, now that you made the decision to go with Smart Style, mm-hmm. okay, you did Jason kind of give you additional help after you've made your selection as to which one you're going to pick? How involved was Jason after that?
He was basically from a standpoint of why did you choose this? Why did you go in that direction? He and I did a follow-up set down because once he gave me the list of 10, he said, hey, go think about it, talk about it, do a little research on your own. So I did all that. I brought 3 back, and Smart Style was one of them. And he was like, Randy, I really think the Smart Style one is fitting you. Again, based on the absentee management, you didn't have to be there every day from a Smart Style management standpoint.
Okay.
And also, I wanted something that I could do during the day while at the same time I could maintain my W-2 job at night.
Okay. So here's the other thing I want to talk to you about, because the Empower series is all about connecting you with resources. I just met with the SBA and was getting her involved with our 2020 schedule. Okay. Because I do believe that there's a lot of free resources that they provide that people don't know about. As you utilize Jason, and then as you utilize your accountant and then the franchisor who was giving you the projection of cost and everything, what other services did you take advantage of being a first-time business owner?
Actually, I didn't take advantage of a lot of other services. That was really just my beginners not knowing. I didn't know what I didn't know.
Gotcha.
I know a lot more now, but I was fortunate, Clifton, in the fact that Regis, the parent company for Smart Style, they had the program laid out pretty good.
Okay.
So the headquarters team really walked their franchisees like myself. There's 11 of me in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There's 10 other people that have brought into the Smart Style brand and we franchise. So they really walked us down that path. They stayed with us from a financial standpoint. They gave us historical data on the history and the financials of each location. And we still have people that we talk to, if not daily, weekly, monthly, at headquarters. So I've got that big conglomerate behind me to where I don't feel like I'm out there on an island by myself.
Okay. So you started Smart Styles when? What was the date you started Smart
Styles?
Styles?
It was January 2018. I opened up January 22nd, 2018. I opened up 3 locations.
Okay, and what are the 3 locations?
Cedar Hill. We're in the Cedar Hill Walmart on Uptown Boulevard.
Okay.
We're in DeSoto off of Beltline, DeSoto Walmart, and then we're out in Waxahachie off Dallas Highway in Waxahachie, right off of 287 and Dallas Highway.
So in the very beginning, did you think you were going to open up multiple ones as opposed to just one?
Well, the good thing about Smart Style, they were giving you bundles.
Oh, okay.
Okay, versus just one. They gave us a very good financial package to get 3 because they were going strong with going franchise.
Okay.
So you can do one here, one there, one there, one here, and it'll take you a while. So if they make the bundle profitable, then doing 3 is made sense.
Okay, so you had your accountant, you had your team. Who else is on your team? You know, it's a business of you. You're the head person. But who would you say are the other professionals that you work with and that you would advise any business owner to make sure they have in place?
Well, I would advise them just to talk with other like-minded people. Talk with other people that are in business. I've got another friend of mine that he's got another business that he does, and he had been in business for a long time. Another friend of mine has a commercial lawn care service. He had been in business for a number of years. So I sort of put people around me that have been doing this, have been franchised, and have been out and doing it a lot longer than me to sort of help me through that process.
All right, so that's number one. So get a network of people like your mentors.
Yes.
So what about professionals like an accountant or insurance agent, things of that nature? So who else would you recommend that's on your team right now?
Definitely an accountant. They can make or break you, okay? I would say someone in the industry. You know, I was fortunate because there are other people that are doing this and going down the same path as me, you know, in Dallas-Fort Worth area that I can reach out and touch and talk to. And then just continue to wrap yourself around people, in this case, from a Smart Style standpoint, just get knowledge of industry. Just because somebody may not, I have a franchise, but I still have talked to the booth stylist who's sitting in the booth, and she's got her own little franchise right there with that booth rental. So you had to make contact with them and stay in contact as well. And the beauty schools, that's another source that I made contact with, because that is a pipeline for ongoing talent, you know, as we see them, the stylists coming out of beauty school. So I had to put myself in touch with a couple of beauty schools in Arlington and also in DeSoto, and just make yourself available.
Okay, so for your particular business, other business owners that can be your mentors,
Yes.
people who are in your industry, because you're always looking for possibly stylists
Yes.
to come in. You also do you have one person that's running all three, or do you have a manager in each one of the stores?
A manager at each location.
Okay, so is that manager also a stylist?
Yes.
Okay, so you have to have like a pipeline when you're looking for potential. Are they employees? Are they W-2?
They can be either W-2 or 1099.
Okay.
In my case, of my 18 employees amongst the 3 stores, 16 of them are W-2, and I only have 2 1099s.
Okay, so most of them are employees then?
Yes,
Okay.
most of them are employees.
All right, is that the model? Is that how they have them set up?
For the most part, yes.
Okay.
And working with other franchisees, the vast majority of our people, the stylists that work with us, they are W-2, and they work within our individual companies.
Okay, so what I'm going to ask you, because I'm asking you this again to see what other professionals. So you said other networking business owners. You need to network with other people in the industry, so you have a pipeline of employees. You said an accountant.
Yes.
And what other professional person is on your team besides an accountant? Do you have an insurance agent?
No, because my insurance that was set up through Regis.
Okay. And so some professional services are provided by the franchisor.
Correct.
Okay, so what are those professional services that are provided by the franchisor that saves you from going out there and finding one on your own?
Well, insurance is definitely one of them.
Okay.
Dealing with state licenses, again.
Okay. Licenses. Okay.
And dealing with a big conglomerate like Regis, the process was a lot easier than me just going out and grabbing a franchise. So every entity or every part of that business, they were piped in.
Okay.
With the exception of accountant. They said, hey, you need to get you a local accountant just to watch your business day to day.
And watch your money, right?
Exactly. But also, with any business, you will have some concerns, complaints. So I definitely had to just stay piped in with Regis from a legal standpoint.
Okay, I was going to go there too.
Yeah, you have to stay piped in with them, and they provided that service to us. We've got legal representation with us, and so basically it was just again, the model with Smart Salon and Regis was very easy.
Okay, so along with the franchise, again, you get your own accountant.
Yes.
They provide the insurance, the licenses.
They don't provide it. We pay for it.
Okay, gotcha. For a fee, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We pay for it.
So they provide those services of which you pay your royalties, and what do you pay them now?
It's 16% of my take goes to Regis.
Okay, and that's on a recurring basis.
That's
right?
on a recurring basis.
Okay.
And most franchises, it varies anywhere from 5% to 25%. I have just found that through just talking with other franchisees in other industries and other areas, but 16% is a good number.
Okay.
It's right there in the middle, and it's right around 15%, which is about the average. Between 12 and 15% is the average.
Okay, and what kind of HR services do they provide when it comes to selecting and recruiting and onboarding employees?
The HR service truly comes through more of ADP, who deals with our money and processing our payroll. They provide HR service to us and support. Regis has the contacts through beauty schools, and then also just knowing the industry. So they know the Paul Mitchell beauty schools. So they just put us in connection with those type of entities. But from an HR standpoint, we were basically tasked to go out and find our own HR representation. But again, ADP was one of the processing systems that they put in place for us. So they provided the HR service with that ADP package.
Okay, so just to get really granular about this, so you got your HR service, which includes the benefits, the payroll, the administration side.
Yes.
Do ADP, they handle the benefits?
They can.
But right now, they handle the payroll for you.
They handle the payroll.
So now if you say, man, I got to get another stylist, then Regis may connect you to the beauty school.
Yes.
But then you have to do your own recruiting or interviewing and selection process, right?
Correct.
ADP doesn't do that for you.
No, we're our own HR service. We do interviewing, we do hiring, we do firing. If there's an issue with a particular stylist, we have to build the paperwork, the trail,
so
to be able to let
do you
someone
do that,
go.
or do you have your head person, your office manager do that?
I am the head person.
Because you're the one. So that's something that. So just really thinking about this. What the reason why I'm asking these questions is because I think it's very important. A lot of people jump into a business and they find that they are the business.
Yes.
But what you've done is you went the route of getting a franchise because all of those systems are in place. You also want to keep your W-2.
Yes.
So even though it's going to take some time for you to start up and run your business and manage it,
Correct.
You don't want to be in it. But when it comes to hiring people, that's a very important process.
And timely.
Yeah.
And timely, because you never know when someone, of my current 18 employees, when I first started out, I only had 14. Now, I've been fortunate. We've grown a little bit. But through that 18 that I am now, probably 10 of them wasn't with me 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I've gone through renditions, and there's been others that have gone through where, you may work 3 months or 6 months or leave for whatever reason. So it's been a lot of time invested with just the HR element of this job as well. And that just keeps you away. That's not even at the store dealing with advertising, dealing with merchandising.
That's the next piece I was going to talk about. Yeah. So marketing. So
yes.
So Regis provides some level of marketing, national
yes.
marketing.
Yes.
But on a local basis, do you do it? Are your hands in the marketing side for your hair salons?
You can be. I've done a little local marketing with Kroger grocery store on the back of grocery store receipts. Mm-hmm. So you can do as much local marketing as you choose. But I've found that the national marketing campaigns work pretty good.
Look, you paying for it, right?
Exactly.
So do they do social media for you?
Yes. The social media networks are set up.
Okay.
Now we have to manage them from day to day. We have to upload the information, upload the picture, upload the events. But the actual media networks for each location, they set that up, and it's there for franchisees to use as much as they want or use as little as they want.
And do you have somebody doing that, or who does that for you?
Fortunately, I have a stylist that just loves doing social media.
Right, you got a millennial, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you got your business in January of 2018.
Yes.
Right, and you got it for the full year. And then when did you open up? When did you start looking for a second franchise?
Actually, that summer of 2018.
Okay, so when you made your decision in January, you had it up and running, and you said, "Okay, I'm ready to open up another one."
I basically looked for another. I wanted to look for another opportunity. There was still a little more capital left, and I said, "Well, let's go ahead and see what else we can do to go ahead and invest this capital." Mm-hmm. In talking with my accountant and looking at what I wanted to do with my W-2 job, I said, okay, now's the time to go ahead and do this before we get too far down the line. But at any rate, that's when I started looking at Lifeologie, basically the summer of 2018.
Okay, so let's kind of talk about this a little bit. Mm-hmm. I know you don't want to share all of your numbers. Like, I had around $2 million to invest. But I do want to get some range.
Okay.
Of what would be, so someone who's listening to you and thinking, man, how much does it cost to really start a smart style?
From a smart style standpoint, honestly, each store is a little different based on historical past financial numbers. But I would say, as a general terms, anywhere into the low six figures to the mid six figures, you could get a bundle of 3.
Okay.
And that varies. It really does. It varies between the region you're in. It varies depending on what, of course, state you're in. Of course, California is a little higher. Florida may be a little higher. So it just depends. But I would say, in general terms, looking at 6 figures to about 100,000 to about 150,000.
Okay. All right, cool. So that's for a bundle of 3.
That's for a bundle of 3
in the area of Dallas, not in Los Angeles or San Francisco.
Correct.
Or those other locations.
Now that would be even better if you would just get a bundle of 6. I mean, because
it'll be better per store, but it'll be more money.
It would be more money, but I do know that the more you get a volume discount.
Definitely. So if you have the cash, that would be good to do.
Yes.
All right. And so now you have a little bit more that you want to invest, so you're looking around. Mm-hmm. And so Lifeologie was brought to your attention.
Yes.
Okay, and tell me about Lifeologie. Yeah.
Throughout the years, I have used counseling services for different parts of my life and different times in my life, so I never forgot that. And again, I was introduced to Melanie Wells, and she put the seed in my ear about it, because we had just been talking about, hey, I want to do something else. One of my main criteria, Clifton, was doing something I could do to give back to the community. I wanted to do something in the community that would impact people. I grew up right here in Oak Cliff, Texas, and I wanted to do something close to home that would impact the area of town that I grew up in. And so Lifeologie was wanting to branch out into the southern sector of town because, let's just face it, the southern sector of town is a little less populated with counseling services, and it was something that I felt like was a need.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you more about Lifeologie.
Okay.
But then I want to go back to, we were talking about finances, right? And so one of the things when you start a business, you have to have capital.
Yes.
Could be a different amount. But how much did you, how would you say you manage your personal finances?
From a business standpoint or personal?
Before you got into business at all, how would you say you were with your personal financial literacy? Just how you handled your money personally? I
feel like I was pretty good. I maxed out my 401k plans. I stayed in contact with my personal accountants, and basically just didn't live above my means. So I stayed pretty close to it. What really got me into franchising is I was let go after being with the Fortune 500 company in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for close to 20 years.
Okay.
So I was into a buyout package, and so that helped thrust me and push me into a different direction. Yeah. When you hit that 5-0 mark, it's like, hey, it's time to go.
Exactly, I know, man.
But so that sort of helped me to go ahead and make that point about moving on to a franchise opportunity. I was still too young to retire. I was still too young to just not work a W-2. So that's where the premise came in. Hey, let's do something where we can find that would be something you didn't have to be at every day.
Okay. And so back on your personal finances now, did you have a financial advisor?
I just had an accountant.
An accountant.
Yes.
Have you ever used a financial advisor?
Not for these models, no. I've used one in the past,
okay,
but not for these models.
All right. And so the other thing and the reason I'm asking this is because financial literacy is the heart of what we do.
Gotcha.
And we find that a lot of people, at least in the industry, if you're not using a financial advisor, you may be doing well, like you were doing well financially. But statistics show that people who have a financial advisor, not just an accountant, but a financial advisor that they're meeting with on a regular basis, an insurance agent that they're meeting with on a regular basis, they usually have more money saved up.
Right.
That's just like someone who works with a personal trainer would be more than likely in better shape than someone who doesn't.
I think one of the myths is you have to have a lot of money to have a financial planner. You don't. Whatever amount of money you have, whatever you have coming in, it would make sense. It would be very prudent to have a financial planner or financial advisor for personal finances, for business finances, just for whatever you're into at that particular moment.
Yeah, and I would say whatever reason people are not having whatever reason people have for not having a financial advisor, that's the reason they need to have one.
There you go. You're exactly right.
There's also a thought to where if you're not able to do anything, don't meet with a financial advisor. And that's one of the things that I ran into when I was a financial advisor. People would meet with me. Sometimes I really couldn't give them any of the products that I was offering, but just that sit down gave them value.
Exactly.
And they can hopefully get into a position where they can get more insurance or can start putting more money in their 401k or getting a Roth IRA or something of that effect. But I'm asking you now, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Are you using a financial advisor now?
I'm using my accountant as a financial advisor.
Yeah.
I have a good friend of mine who has dabbled in the industry, financial advising in the past. I utilize him as well. So I don't per se have a financial advisor. I just have friends that know the industry and know the business, and they give me very sound advice. Yeah. So I would say, as a rule of thumb, it's good to have a financial advisor, a financial mentor. I'm just fortunate that I've got people around me that have been involved and continue to do it.
Yeah. So my advice, because I have people who do that as well.
Yes.
Like you have a relationship with your accountant that's in your building now.
Yes.
And he's really good because as an accountant, he has a lot of clients. He has some level of financial planning advice.
Yes.
But I would say that an accountant truly is not a financial advisor.
Agree.
And the key is to build your circle. Just like you were talking about identifying business owners, I would encourage anyone to sit down with a financial advisor. And it's like a dating process. You know, you might not find the right one the first time, but you don't give up on it, right?
Exactly. And again, any amount of money You don't have to have six figures in the bank to have a financial planner, financial advisor. Whatever you have, it's worth having somebody that can help you to manage it properly.
Now, was there ever a time that you weren't really in a good financial position, where you were in debt, or maybe in a situation where your income was not enough to cover your expenses and you were getting behind?
When I was going through my late 20s and 30s, and as I was climbing the corporate ladder, a little stupidity creeped in a number of times.
You're making it rain, right?
So you always spend a little bit above what you actually need to. So I went through that period, just like, some. I won't say all, but I went through that period in my late 20s. Fortunately, I was married. I had a wife that pulled me back in, the reins back in. I had a mother that pulled me back in and reined me back in. And that made me smarter for later years because I got it out my system in my late 20s.
All right. So you got into starting your business because you were kicked out.
Yes.
But then there was a time in your 20s and 30s where you weren't really in the best financial picture.
Yes.
So you got some insights.
Yes.
And so there was a process from you looking at your current status and saying, okay, I got to do better. And maybe it took a time for you to get to the point where you had the six figures to invest.
Right.
How long of a period was that, would you say?
I would say it was a good 10 years.
Okay.
I would say in my early 40s, I was ready to do something, but I was also very engulfed in the corporate world and doing very well in the corporate world.
So you were kind of comfortable.
Very comfortable.
Weren't willing to leave the plantation.
Very
yet, right?
comfortable.
I got you.
So I never made it happen. But once the plantation said, hey, we need you out there on the street, we're kicking you out. And I'm like, okay, well, now's the time.
And it was good. And you were in a better financial position than you were when you were in your 30s. Right?
Exactly.
So timing kind of works out the way it's supposed to work out. Right?
Definitely.
Right. And the reason why I was asking about your personal finances is because a lot of times when you look at businesses and how they run,
yes,
they say that your business is really a reflection of your personal finances.
Gotcha.
And and so you were in a better state when you started your business. But can you see now that with the way you're running your personal finances, is that really a reflection of how you're monitoring your business finances?
Definitely. Decisions I'm making now in my late 40s and early 50s, I wouldn't have made in my late 20s and early 30s.
Yeah.
And again, that net of people around you that can support you and give you sound advice is a lot bigger now. Instead of just talking to my main buddy in my late 20s and then investing in something that wasn't necessarily sound or just spending money on whatever, you make better decisions now.
Did you have, when you were still not in the best financial position, did you have a vision of what you wanted to do entrepreneurially before you were physically or financially in a position to execute that vision?
I really didn't. I was just out there.
You're just moving.
I was making a little money, and I knew I wanted to do something. But to say I had a vision, I didn't. I've had it in the back of my mind for years to own a business and to do something. Now, through the years, it has progressed and it has gotten, let's just say that desire has gotten larger. But it wasn't until I was really just cast out and said, okay, hey, now's the time to do it.
You have a vision now, though, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So it's interesting, again, because in January, we start with visioning and goal setting. And so I want to make sure, and I've been putting out there on our LinkedIn, on our Twitter, and on our Facebook, little clips of every speaker who talks about vision.
Okay.
So we have Dr. Nicole LaBeach talks about vision is all about visibility and not feasibility.
Gotcha.
So you might be in a situation where you have a lot of debt or you don't have the six figures set aside to invest, but you want to be able to see and believe that you can be in that position.
Right.
And maybe your goal is just to get your finances straight.
Right.
Right. Or just have a belief, have a goal. Dr. Dennis Kimball talks about what's the last vision that's in your mind when you close your eyes at night.
Right.
It better be the accomplishment of your goals.
There you go.
It has to be. So right now you got 2 franchises.
Yes.
Tell me about your vision and where you see yourself going now that you have a W-2, you got 2 additional businesses. What's your vision for the future?
I think the vision, one thing you have to understand when you have a vision is it doesn't just happen that day.
Right.
You have to work that vision 6 months, a year and a half prior to. So I've like I said, I've had it in the back of my mind for years about owning a business, owning a franchise. Just never really reacted or never made that push because I was so comfortable with the W-2 job. Now, I would say once you have that vision, that desire, then you put yourself in the position. Always put yourself around people that are doing things. Put yourself around other franchisees. Put yourself around other people that are in business. And then you will gain those things that they are doing. You will learn those things that they are doing. You will learn the capital and how to put the capital in place. And you will learn what small business owners need, what they do, and how they work, and how you grow your network of people that are around you that support you.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you intentionally.
Okay.
So what's your degree in?
Production and operations management.
Okay, do you have a bachelor's degree, undergrad? Do you have a master's in anything?
No, I didn't complete it.
All right, but you started it, right?
I started it.
Okay, so you got an undergrad, you started a master's, and
Yes.
then in your field, which is logistics, right?
Yes.
You go through continuing education at your job.
Yes.
Right, and then you were also in the military too.
Yes.
Right. How many? You served 6 years.
6 years. I did 2 years active duty and then 4 years active reserve.
Well, thank you for your service, man. Really appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I'm glad you made it out of with your right mind too.
Oh yeah.
That's very, that's a blessing.
Yes.
So with all that being said, right, with you being educated academically in the military, masters, you're at your job, and all of the money that's been invested in your education, what are you investing in your education now as a business owner?
Well, I think it's not just my education, it's the education of the company. I invest in learning more about just ownership because it's more than just me. I have to deal with the employees that are within my corporation. So I invest in them. I invest in their time. I invest in knowledge into them so that they are better employees, so that they can do better and feel better about themselves. So we've done continuing education, and from the Smart Style standpoint, we brought in stylist trainers that invest in the individual stylists, and then they feel better about what they're doing and help them. From a counseling standpoint, we have CEUs, which is basically just additional training for the counselors, and that makes them a better counselor or therapist. So I don't look at it just as me. I look at it as a company.
And that's a good point, man, because when you think about it, the way I look at it is as an employee, so at your W-2 job,
Yes.
you have a role.
Yes.
And your role is to do whatever logistics, is that what it is?
Yes.
So
logistics management, yes.
So you do logistics management.
Yes.
But in your company, there's a
Yes.
whole bunch of other stuff going on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But your role is just that. And I kind of relate that to a child or a teenager or whatever living at home.
Okay.
And they're doing their chores. So your job description is a chore of a person living under their parents' home, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden they want to get out of the house. So, so a child wants to get out of the house. It's just like sometimes an employee gets frustrated. So I want to start my own business, right?
Right.
and then they think they can do it. They get in their own business, and like you have, there's a lot more than just your job description.
Exactly.
There's a lot more than just you understanding how to run a business, but you want to create an environment for your employees where they're being trained to do the job that you're paying them to do.
Right.
But also you're also investing in their education so they can be developed and they can grow.
Correct.
Whether that's going to be with you or if they may develop and go someplace else.
Right.
But you got to create that system in your business to where people feel like they are committing their time to more than just getting a paycheck back.
Exactly.
Doing some kind of growth and development.
People have to feel good about what they're doing. They have to feel good about their direction. They have to feel, as an employee, I like to feel good about what I'm getting, what I'm learning from that particular franchise, and because they want to branch out. Eventually, I have stylists that have branched out, and they go to booth rental because they've learned a little bit more about money. They know how to do it. They've built their clientele. So, in essence, I'm helping them to create their little franchise or their own little business.
Yeah, if you're not developing and helping your employees grow and develop, then you're just taking.
Exactly.
You're not really giving back. So now that you're out and you're running your two businesses, what is it that is a surprise to you that you didn't know?
Oh, it's a surprise every day.
Yeah. So I'm really trying to get some jewels and nuggets for those of people who are watching, who can learn from your experience.
I'll tell you this: there's no adage that if you do something that you like, it's not work. And I will say that I do my W-2 job because I have to, but when I work in my franchises, it's not work.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy it. I enjoy the challenge of getting in there and making it work. there are a lot of things that may be thrown at you from day to day that is totally different. You didn't see it coming from left field. But again, you have that network of people that can help you with any situation, and someone I can go talk to, maybe not from a financial standpoint, but just from a emotional standpoint, or maybe from a business standpoint. Hey, they encountered that very same thing.
Okay, so give me an example, man. I'm not going to let you get away with a vague answer. So we got to be very specific. This is transparency, man.
Okay. No, and I'm totally with you. Totally with you. From a smart style standpoint, I've had to deal with not having a manager that was doing the right thing financially with the money.
Dude, that's some real talk right there.
And
so
it was real.
How did you find out, and how did you deal with it?
Well, again, you have employees that care about the business. So it was coming to me via another stylist.
Okay.
And so then I had to put the things in place to just track it, to just see if it was real. Because you don't want to approach anyone with something real like that just to say, hey, are you doing this? So as a business owner, you have to do your due diligence to verify it, to look and see if this is truly what's happening. And it was true. So once you find out that, yeah, this person is not being financially savvy with your money, then you have to figure out, okay, how do you deal with that?
Without going to jail, right?
Without going to jail. Now, do you get the authorities involved, or do you just take care of it yourself? Because you're dealing with a person's life.
And it's theft.
It's
right?
theft.
Yeah.
And that can bring real consequences for a particular person. And this is very true. It happened.
Yeah.
So I chose the route of not getting the police involved, but we did put documentation in place so that it was known why that person was let go. So they couldn't use me as a reference with anything else they did, because I was going to put it out there why they were let go.
So the important thing then is that even though that was a challenge, it benefits you by putting in systems and checks and balances in place to where things like that won't happen. And also, as you continue to get bigger, then the likelihood of that happening could be even greater. So if you don't have those systems in place to ensure that money's not being squandered.
Correct.
And then also in other areas, right, I'm sure as well, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. So another question for you is, and I always ask people this, at some point, you're going to go to sleep and you're not going to wake up.
Got you.
So what's going to happen to your businesses when that happens?
Well, I have 2 daughters that keep me very enlightened with life, and I've set things up so that they will have the opportunity to continue with these businesses, or at that point, they will have the opportunity to just sell them off.
Okay.
But I am putting them in place. I have my oldest daughter who is an IT professional, so she helps me with some of my IT work. So she's, in a small part, involved with the businesses right now. And so she helps in that regard, just close enough to where she knows what's happening. She knows a little bit about the finances. So I'm setting them up, the legacy for later on for my children.
Okay, and the reason I ask that is because in October every year, we partner with the J.L. Turner Legal Association, and we do a will clinic.
Gotcha.
And so this last October, we had, people think their stuff is simple.
Right.
And so we had a simple will clinic. We had a number of people come.
Nothing simple.
I know, ain't nothing. But here, 15 people.
Yeah.
15 people signed up because we were saying, if your situation is truly simple,
Right.
we will give you a simple will free.
Right.
So 15 people are going to get simple wills done. But other people are finding out that their stuff is not that simple.
Exactly.
So even for you, when you start having businesses, it gets a little bit complicated, but you don't have to have a business for it to be complicated.
Correct.
So I want to ask you 2 personal questions around that area. So you have, and before you even started your businesses, estate planning documents consist of a will,
Yes.
a power of attorney, medical power of attorney, possibly a trust, a living will, which is a living will is like a physician directive. It says when do you want a plug pulled or something.
Right. Yeah.
Have you had, or do you have all of your personal financial documents in order before you started your businesses?
I did from a personal standpoint.
Got it.
Now, from the first franchise, those documents are in order. I have yet to put that in order for the second franchise.
You haven't updated your personal situation, your personal estate planning for the new business you have.
Correct.
Okay. So now, when you started your first one, even with the second one, when you were getting into it, did the franchisor talk to you about any kind of succession planning?
Not really.
Okay, so
Not really.
that'd be on you, right?
Totally on me.
So they would have had you would have jumped in there, and then if you didn't wake up the next day, then something's going to happen to it, right?
Well, I think I have a person who I can succession plan the business to. But the main thing that the way the wording is that the corporate company would take the business back over.
Yeah, and so that could be all of the work that you put into it. Instead of it going to your family members or your loved ones,
Right.
the company's just going to take it back.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's very important for you to get those pieces in place, right?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, and so that you have to get your own personal attorney. Do you have your estate planning attorney, or
I do.
Okay, good.
Through my accountant, yes.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go. So that's another thing that you would say is very important that people should do.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely. Yes.
So what other advice would you give someone who's a beginning entrepreneur? You've been in this game. You were like many people who have a job, had an idea of starting your business, got kind of forced into it, but you did it. And I would say you're successful in running 2 franchises and keeping your job.
Right.
So there's a wealth of experiences that you know. What advice would you give other people who are aspiring entrepreneurs?
Well, don't feel like you have to do it yourself. I mean, it's very easy to say, okay, this is my company, I'm gonna go out and do this. Wrong. Have you a team of people around you that can support, provide information, provide data and support. I would say make sure your capital is straight, because you just never know what may hit that business. Your runway to profitability may be a little longer than what you anticipate.
Wait, maybe? Come on, man, be real, right?
Exactly.
It will be, right?
It will be, So whatever your profitability game plan is, plan for it to be a little longer. And then also just allow time, because time is the thing that any business will need.
Yeah.
And it will need it from different directions, from an HR standpoint, from a day-to-day standpoint, from a advertisement standpoint, a marketing standpoint. So there's a lot of elements to any business that you have to be involved with.
Well, I'll tell you, man. I want you to be tell us, be transparent on this one too.
Okay.
So Steve Jobs said in the interview that the 2 things that are very important that you, from an entrepreneur standpoint, is do something that you love, like you said. You really enjoy the work. So when you get off your W-2,
Right.
you point in and doing the work is not really work because you love it.
Exactly.
And you got to be passionate, because Steve said any rational person, when they look at the amount of effort it's going to take to be successful,
Right.
they would probably not do it.
I would totally agree with that.
Yeah. And then the second thing he said was having a good team, picking smart people around you.
Right.
That being said, I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and almost every single one of them have hit some rocks.
Oh, yeah.
They've just, they've had no money in the bank, and they've just been operating on faith.
Yes.
So 2 questions for you. Have you been there yet?
Yes.
Okay.
I can say with my second franchise, I was spoiled with my first franchise.
Because it was like, man, this is good.
This is great. Why didn't I do this 10 years ago?
Yeah.
But so that's why I jumped into the second one so quick, or I was fortunate enough to be able to jump into the second one so quick, because my runway was a very short runway to profitability with Smart Sale. Now, secondarily, I get into Lifeologie. Now that runway is a little longer. It was projected to be longer, but I need even more thousands of feet on that runway just to get there.
Gotcha.
But there is a game plan in place, and that goes back to dealing with other Lifeologie franchise owners and just dealing with the headquarters in general. There's a game plan in place. Now that game plan to profitability may be a little longer, but it's in place. I can see it. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So it's there. I just got to get to it.
Yeah, so it's interesting, because that's what I want to get to. Many people don't see that the entrepreneur path is like this, man.
It is.
And they see people who are successful, and they don't see the ups and downs.
They don't see the behind the scenes,
Yeah.
what that person had to do, the loans that person had to take out, the 401ks that they had to invest, the just time and effort and money that it goes into being profitable. And like I stated earlier, we don't open up a business and all of a sudden we're profitable. It takes time to get there, and it takes time to sustain it. And I'm learning that just in my 2 years, because there's been some ups and downs also, and just in my short 2 years. But you have to learn to enjoy the fruitful times, and just know that the peaks and valleys are going to come. So just prepare for it.
And so with that being said, how can I put this? Because it takes something when you get to that point. And so as a financial advisor, when I was recruiting, I would tell someone that, okay, this is a business. You got to go out there and find clients, and you might have all these good skill sets. You might think it's going to be easy. I would tell them, I don't know what it's going to be, but there's going to be a point where you're going to hit the wall, and you're going to be thinking, man, it's like a dip. Can I get through this?
Right.
Who knows what? It's different for everybody.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, whatever is going to get you through cannot be money. Your motivation cannot be money.
Right.
Because money's not going to be enough, because you're going to have to commit your life and something else to make it work.
Right.
And so I would tell them that up front to help them get to their biggest why, so they can hold on to that when there's really nothing else but the why. Right. What advice would you give somebody when they have a plan going through and they run into that wall? From an entrepreneur's perspective, what kind of words of encouragement would you give them?
Real quick, one quick story. When I was young, my mother and my sister, every Saturday morning, they go to the Beauty Salon. I never forgot that. And they would come back home, and they would just be on top of the world because they got their hair done. Vice versa, as I look at my Smart Style business, and what each of the stylists do, they're creating change in people as they come in, and just uplifting them, and just making them feel better about themselves just by doing that one certain thing. Now, as far as advice to someone else, I think you just have to look at, what are you in this for? To make people feel good, to invest back into the community, because you have to want to invest in people. And it's not necessarily about me or about you, because if you invest in people, if you invest in the business and you invest in everything, then that will at some point come back in a positive standpoint.
Okay. So it's interesting because the story you were telling me about the salon, how, people go there and beauticians as well as barbers.
Yes.
They make people feel good about themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And that's always important. And I'm even thinking about your Lifeologie.
Yes.
Your Lifeologie, sometimes life doesn't really feel good.
Exactly.
So what's the website for your
it's
Lifeologie?
Lifeologie. We're www.lifeologie Cedar Hill. We're in Cedar Hill.
I thought it was. Melanie said it was.
Oh, you mean our email address? We fix brains.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. We fix brains.
So sometimes your brain needs some fixing.
Oh
right?
yeah. You need some adjustments.
Exactly.
Just think about it, Clifton. If you look at the human body, we work on every part of it. We go get our eyes checked. We get our teeth cleaned. We get our ears checked. We get our hearts checked. We get everything checked, except our brains in a lot of cases. And if you look at totality, just to go in and just, we call it just tune-ups. Just go in and talk to someone and just make sure that everything's good and everything's going in the right direction. We would do so much better, and we would cut into a lot of the social and issues that we have today, with just mental health today.
Yeah, and so speaking about that, I gave you a card. I don't know if you still have it.
I do.
But so, okay, I want my card back, bro. but in any event, so let me see the card.
Yes.
So we were talking about just that fact that there are people who need help.
Yes.
So whether it's mental health or whether it's just beautification.
Yes.
And there's a young lady that I met at an event. Her name is Tiffany Hollins.
Yes.
And she has a nonprofit called Reset Inc. It's RESTE, and she's a beautician. And what they do, she has a mobile salon, and they do grooming for homeless people.
Gotcha.
And so we were just talking about that, and a lot of times, she has a circle of friends and they volunteer their time. She'll get in the trailer and they'll go around and they have, I think, three chairs in there.
Perfect.
Yeah. And so my question to you and a soft challenge to you is that in your two businesses that are about helping people feel good for a profit,
yes.
right? What can you do to help people feel good who can't afford your services?
Well, a couple of things. You can help steer them in the direction to where they can find help that may fit their financial well-being or their particular situation. But you also can provide what we call a sliding scale. When people come in, not everybody may or able to pay a certain set rate. So we work with people. And we have various levels of stylists. We have various level of therapists that may fit different needs and different financial financial situations. So in doing that, if you work with someone that comes into our particular office, Cedar Hill, and you work with them, but then also if they can't fit our model, then we can help steer them in the right direction.
Okay, and then you were mentioning for your hair salons that there's certain expos or conferences that you've gone to.
Yes.
Where part of the setup was free services were provided.
Yes.
And so you had your employees go. Did you still pay them even though they were giving the services?
Yes, I basically paid them a day's salary. We've done various events out at Glendale Park and Oak Cliff, and different festivals and different events that have happened at that park. One of my stylists is connected with a couple of the nonprofits that have been a part of these different festivals. So we would send 3 stylists out there, and they would just basically, we'd set up our little booth, and we'd have our name and everything out there, and we'd give free haircuts.
Yeah.
And basically that's a way of serving and giving back to the community and just being there. It not only gets our name out, but it also just shows that we want to be good partners to the community.
Okay. Well, man, I look up and then time is like we're almost at the very end. So I want to appreciate you for taking the time to come back and speaking. Is there anything that you wanted to say that I didn't get an opportunity to ask you that you want to let people know about?
Well, just that when you talk about a franchise, don't let the word franchise scare you. Okay. And I would say talk to people and plan ahead, because you just don't open the doors to a franchise today. There's a lot of pre-work that goes into it. There's a lot of pre-thought that goes into it if you do it the right way. And just broaden your network of people, because it's easier than you may think to get into it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Okay, let's not fool ourselves. It's a lot of work,
right.
But it's very rewarding work.
Yeah, when you said it's easy to get into, this woman was talking to her son, and he was getting married, and she said, "Look, marriage is easy to get into. It's hard to get out of, right?" but I want you, if someone wants to include you in their network, let's say they want to reach out to you.
Yes.
They've made it to the end of this podcast, so got some endurance.
Yes.
But how do they reach you if you want to put your stuff out there on blast?
They can reach me via email, randyb at wefixbrains.com.
Okay.
Or you can reach me on my personal email, randyb7651 at yahoo.com.
Okay, cool. And you can be that mentor for somebody who's asking you some questions, just like when you've reached out to other business owners, they've helped you, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay,
definitely.
Cool. Well, man, I really do appreciate you coming on again. I know we're going to keep working together.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
If there's anything I can do to help you, or you see an opportunity for you to help the Empower Series in any way, let people know about what we do.
Okay.
So this will be out there. I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank our supporters.
Okay.
So we have AE Media Group as well, making us look good on social media. We have Comerica Bank. Comerica Bank has been a longtime supporter of the Empower Series since 2011. Okay. They have something called a charitable foundation. Mm-hmm. And so they give grants out to nonprofits in the community to really help them make a difference in their life. And I'm going to put out a blast next week, because I just got another $10,000 check from Comerica Charitable Foundation. It was very, very needed.
Thank you, Comerica.
So thank you, man. Much love to Comerica. They truly, truly want to make sure that individuals and businesses are doing well. And when I first met Irv Ashford Jr. back in 2011, he heard my vision, and he's been supporting me ever since. So they really do focus on relationships, and I just want to give most love and respect and appreciation to Comerica Bank and Irv Ashford Jr. and the whole team at Comerica Bank, because they really live their values.
Gotcha.
Okay, and thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your donations, your contributions. Everything that you give, your time, your talents, your finances are put forth to put positive programming out there to give people hope, inspiration, education, and connection to resources. You want to find out more about the Empower Series, go to our website, www.empowerseries.com. You can always make donations by clicking on the donate button in the top left-hand corner. Click on RSVP to see the podcast and other events that are coming up in 2020. You can also take a survey and give us some feedback and let us know how your life has been impacted. You can add comments as well. We want to get some stories, because I'll leave with this last story. Mm-hmm. I ran into a person that came to our workshop in June of 2018.
Okay.
That was the last time I saw her. Then I saw her last month, and come to find out, she went to our home buying workshop. She actually put in place everything we said. So she cleaned up her credit by November. She got a real estate agent in December, and in February, she closed on her house.
Great.
And so that is
Excellent.
putting ideas in action. So we want to do that for everybody that comes. And we're not going to know if we're helping or making an impact unless you tell us. So please don't keep it a secret. Share the Empower series with somebody. And until we meet again, stay empowered and be inspired to thrive. Thank you.